This is my 2002 Nissan Sentra SE-R Spec V. I bought this car right after the Optima blew up for 700 bucks and tossed a motor in it. This here is the car on the trailer when I went and got it, which I had to use a U-Haul because, you know, my truck over there is always broken. Here's the rod my friend Andre pulled out of the hole inside of the block when we got it back to the shop. So in today's video, we're going to be watching some footage I found on my phone of tearing down the original engine from this car that I didn't know I had. So I'm done talking, roll the clips.
I'm using the higher quality camera for this so maybe we can see. Definitely looks like there could have been some damage with metal going through the engine. This one shows it. Yeah, see. But cam caps are off. About to pull the timing cover and see what that looks like. 10 minutes in, I got most of the front stuff off. Water jackets, water pump, some brackets for the motor mounts. Timing chain cover is off. There's where all the magic happens. There's the VTEC. Just kidding. That's where the variable, this is the actuator that handles the variable valve timing. And the timing chain actually doesn't look like it's in bad shape. The cam gear is pretty good looking too. Even the tensioner doesn't even look like it's chewed up. So again, it looks like this engine had a good life right up until the end when it exploded. Now, top tip, if you're taking off your front timing cover, you got to remember there's 5 bolts down here. Here, 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 and here. And you need to take those off in order to get the timing cover off. Otherwise you're going to hit stuff and keep bending stuff, kind of like I was about to start doing. So there's a gap up there, no gap down there. And you're going to have a bad day. Now stand this up, this timing cover should come off. Should have seen that one coming. Yep. So I flipped it over to get the upper oil pan off, and rod cap fell out of the hole. Look at the surface on that. Ooh. That is pretty rough. We have a bonus piece of piston. Do a little evaluation. Got a piston there. Got a piston down there. Got a little bit of something missing right there. Look at that bearing surface. And the piston's still down in there. There's a rod still hanging on. So still had 3. But, like, look right here. Look at all this metal. Ugh. Alright, so front timing cover's off. Apparently, you gotta take off the oil pickup in order to get the front timing cover off. My shop manual just kind of glosses over all this stuff, so I was just kind of winging it. This would be a lot easier on a engine stand, but given the nature of the teardown, I'm not trying to save this. This engine's just scrapped pretty much. I'm not super worried about it. Normally I'd do this on a engine stand, but this is the intricate timing system on here. Everybody a nice high def look. Gonna start tearing this down and get all this off, and then pull the crank and see how the block looks. So the engine is back, right side up, cams are out, all the front stuff is off. I just want to point out how bad this blow up was. It broke a hole in the oil pan. Besides the 2 holes in the block, it really screwed up all the cam surfaces. And it even broke a hole in this house. I think this is the something to do with the oil pump. I'm not 100% positive, but it broke I mean, look at that. It just exploded there. So, this was obviously a pretty bad freaking blow up when it went. Also, just want to point out, look at the little gear. It's so cute. How cute it is. Oh, it's really slippery too. I feel pretty fortunate because these head bolts here, they are a 10mm Allen. And, oh, whoops, don't mess with it. Oh my God, stuff is going wrong. Oh no, anyway. It's 10mm Allen, which it doesn't want to focus on. It's 10mm Allen, okay? And I feel lucky because pretty much every Nissan head bolt is a 10mm Allen. The VG33 I just did was also 10mm Allen, so I get to use tools over and over again. I don't have to buy them just once. I bought this set just to do the flywheel, but luckily some of the bolts down in the crankcase, they were that same I guess reverse Torx pattern. So I'm glad my tools are coming to use. So before I go up for the day, I just want to show you guys what we found in the oil pan. All these metal shavings. I mean, rod bolts. You know, it was like I said, it was a pretty ugly sight. Somehow nothing punctured this bottom oil pan when it blew up. It went through the oil pump, it went through the upper oil pan, went through the block, but somehow this remained intact. There's a couple dent marks. A couple pieces of metal that are like, wait, where were they? A couple pieces of metal that are like embedded into the oil pan, but overall it survived it pretty decent. The head is off. You guys notice anything odd? Maybe that these two are on the downstroke, this is on the upstroke, and that one seems to be on the downstroke too. That piston is the one that broke. That is the number 2. Yep, that's number 2 piston. Give you a good look at everything. Head gasket was still in good condition and everything. But, yep. There you go, she's open. We're gonna try to get the piston out. Apparently all the bearings on the old Sentra motor were just fried. That explains that. So that was the last bit of lost footage I had on the Sentra from when we did the original build video. I think it's one of the first videos on this channel. Here in this picture, this is the engine was fully disassembled. I'm not sure why I don't have any video of it, but this is what it is. So it's disassembled. You see the block and the crank girdle are on the table with 3 pistons, and the crank, which you saw, was pretty torn up, and there's engine bearings laying everywhere. You see I mounted some of the pieces up on the wall for display. They're still there to this day. The piston, some of the pieces, the balance shafts, the rod, the VVT gear, and the other gears from the balance shafts, and of course that oil pan with all that metal just smashed into the pan. But here's a good shot of the block when it was torn apart. This massive hole in it. And here I took this picture because I was astounded at the time of how thin the piston rods are. It's literally thinner than my thumb from both angles. You know, whichever way you look at the rod, it's a pretty thin rod. So it's no wonder they are known for throwing rods under high loads, especially when people don't check the oil, because the QR is also known for burning a little bit of oil. So I started pulling the head apart just to practice doing head work, because I hadn't done it at the time. And here's one of the intake valves. Here's an exhaust valve, and I decided I was going to clean them up with Scotch-Brite and see what they look like. This is the exhaust valve from another angle. Here's when I cleaned it up. You can see the exhaust valves were just, the seats were fried, so there might have been a clearance issue with the head, since there's no adjustment. You know, like the KA engine in my truck has hydraulic rockers, so it adjusts to 0 lash automatically. But these don't have that. They're cam on bucket style, so there might have been an issue there, and it was hanging open and burning the seat. I'm not sure. I guess that's intake. Is it intake or exhaust? That's an intake cam. Okay. And here's after it. I cleaned it up with Scotch-Brite from the front and the side. You can see it looks pretty decent. There's a close-up shot. But yeah, that's about all I have on the lost footage. So let's get back into the barn and start working on the car in present day. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing that little look back on the Sentra. Here's where it is currently. It's being really weird. I'm gonna show you what it's doing. It stumped everybody. Nobody can really figure out what's going on with it. So here it is idling. It's about what, 1400 RPM. No, now it goes down to 1,000 as soon as I say that because the fan's kicked on. So if I hit the gas pedal, nothing. All right. And I know it's in limp mode because you pull the dipstick on the catch can, give it a vacuum leak, it revs up and it can't hold an idle. But if I floor it, the gas pedal actually works a little bit now, but it limits at about 2400 RPM like limp mode does. So something really weird's going on. And it goes back to normal. Now, you can see the throttle body wires are a little cut up. We have done so much probing. The only thing that seems to be wrong with it is TPS1 isn't outputting any voltage. I've changed the pedal, I've changed the ECU, I've changed the throttle body, and each time I changed anything, the TPS was always still at 0 volts. But the source voltage wire that gives TPS1 and 2 voltage is at 5 volts the way it's supposed to. It's about 5.2. And the pedal, the voltages, are perfectly in spec all the way through the range. TPS2 also is in spec, but obviously it doesn't move because TPS1 doesn't show up, so the throttle body's not going to move. So if anybody has any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. I'll try to respond to everybody. I really miss this car. I want to get it driving, and I don't know what's wrong with it. I mean, seriously, I've even stumped the dealer. The Nissan dealer can't figure it out. As far as running goes, it idles totally fine. So like I said, let me know down in the comments what you think it might be. Hopefully we can get this figured out with the power of the YouTube community, and I can get my mostly fully functional car back. Oh, also I want to add, the MAF does operate. All the voltages on the MAF are correct, and when you unplug it, it does run crappy. So I'm not sure what's going on at all. Everything is stock. Literally the only mod on it is I painted the brakes and put a new shifter and boot on it. So this happened right after I tried to change the electronic pedal, what is called the accelerator pedal position switch, and right after I unplugged it, it's never ran since. So also I wanted to point out real quick before we end the video, if you hit the cruise control button, it turns on and the set button flashes because it can't, because obviously there's something, you know, there's a the TPS isn't communicating right, so that's something interesting to note that it does too. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching this video. Hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and talk to you guys later.